I made my job from scratch. Not inherited, not given, but chiseled out of sleepless hours, continuous grinding, and an unwavering trust in what I was doing. In the early days, it was nothing but a dream, a fragile, absurd fantasy that even I sometimes doubted. Yet, I pushed through. The hard nights turned into years. The desire transformed into skill. The skill evolved into success. Suddenly, I had a profession most people couldn't even understand. Over 5 million followers, six-figure brand deals, a stable, growing income that safeguarded not simply my future, but Olivia's family's future too. And yet, despite everything I had accomplished, there was always a voice lingering in the background, a nagging whisper that never went away. It's not a genuine job. At first, it came from strangers, trolls on the internet, old-school skeptics who thought everything outside of a 9-to-5 was a joke, but when it came from family, from the people who should have backed me the most, that was something else. Olivia had always been in my corner. At least, that's what I had imagined. She was there through the tough times, cheering me on, encouraging me, reminding me that I was more than just a guy playing video games for an audience. But her parents? They had never respected it. Never respected me. I had ignored it for years, convinced myself that their statements didn't matter as long as Olivia and I were solid. Yet one morning, everything changed. I woke up to the familiar chime of my phone, barely cracking my eyes open to check the time. 6:12 a.m. Far too early. For anything wonderful. Then I read the post from Marco, my moderator. You need to see this, immediately. Something about those words made my chest tense. Marco wasn't the kind of guy to exaggerate. If he said I needed to see something, I knew it was bad. Still groggy, I clicked the link. The instant the video played, my stomach dropped. It was a clip from Olivia's family gathering. The quality was blurry, possibly a hidden phone camera, but the voices were clear. My father-in-law, Richard, sat at the head of the table, drink in hand, his voice laced with amusement as he criticized my entire career. He plays video games all day like a dumb child, and people actually pay him? What sort of idiots waste money on that? A chorus of laughter erupted around the table. Not uneasy laughter, not the kind that happens when someone crosses the line. No, this was genuine amusement. They thought it was funny. The camera panned as my mother-in-law, Diane, leaned in with a smile, sipping her wine. I still can't believe that's a career. Imagine telling people that's what your son-in-law does. Humiliating. And then Lisa, Olivia's sister, delivered the words that made my vision dim. At least his little internet hobby covers our bills. My breath seized. My chest felt tight. My fingers curled into fists as I watched Lisa giggle, entirely oblivious to the weight of what she had just said. Olivia was in the scene now, sitting there, silent, not laughing, but not defending me either. Her eyes were downcast, avoiding everyone's gaze, as if she was simply waiting for the conversation to pass. I watched the video again and again. I wanted to believe there was some kind of context missing. Maybe they were inebriated. Maybe it was just lousy humor. Maybe Olivia had spoken up afterward. But it wasn't caught on camera. Yet deep down, I knew the truth. They had never appreciated me. They just valued the money I brought in. That was when something inside me snapped. I sat in my chair, staring at the faint glow of my computer screen. The words from the video refused to leave my thoughts, playing on loop like a cruel joke. At least his little internet hobby pays our bills. I clenched my jaw, feeling a heat grow in my chest, a tightness that wasn't simply rage, but something deeper. Betrayal. I had spent years thinking I was part of a family, thinking that my success was our success, that every dollar I contributed was a symbol of love, of duty, of being a decent son-in-law. I had been a fool. For 6 years, I had sponsored their lives without a second thought. Richard and Diane? Their mortgage was gone because of me. Their debt-free retirement, their holidays, their ability to live well without worrying about finances. That was because of me. Lisa? She had walked out of college without a single student. Loan weighing her down. No late-night dread over tuition costs. No crushing weight of monthly repayments. I did that. And yet, in that video, they had laughed at me. Mocked the very thing that put bread on their table. The very profession they depended on. I exhaled, my fingers hovering over the screen. My banking app was open. The emergency fund I had set up for Olivia's family a few years back, just in case they ever faced rough times, was right there. The balance? $312,000. At the time, it had felt like the proper thing to do. Family takes care of family. That's what I told myself. But what had they done when I needed respect, when I needed the bare minimum, acknowledgement that my work was real, that I wasn't some disgrace? They had sat at a meal table and smiled at my humiliation. I clicked transfer. My personal account flashed on the screen. Without hesitation, I typed in the full amount. Every cent. The app prompted me to confirm. I pressed yes, done. Just like that, the lifeline I had provided them was gone. No more emergency fund, no more safety net, no more paying for a family who saw me as nothing more than a paycheck. I wasn't done yet. I switched over to my inbox, my fingers moving with a steadiness that astonished me. I copied the URL Marco had emailed me, the video that had shattered any final illusions I had about where I stood with Olivia's family. Then I typed out 4 simple words. There will be no more transfers. I stared at the email for a long while, reading it over. There was no rage in those words, no emotion at all, just a clear, unarguable reality. For 6 years, I had taken care of them. That was over. I hovered over the send button for only a second. Then I hit send. Commitments. No more phony gratitude. Simply me and everything I had built. Then, as if the cosmos had detected my moment of peace, Olivia strolled in. She seemed apprehensive, her arms crossed, her visage something between tiredness and discomfort. Braced myself. Lisa texted me, she said. I didn't react. I just waited. She sighed. She says my parents are struggling now, because of you. I scoffed. Struggling? With a completely paid-off property and zero debt? Give me a break. She hesitated, shifting on her feet. You know what I mean? They're unhappy. My dad's angry. My mom won't stop sobbing. I chuckled. Not because it was amusing, but because it was so obvious. They're upset because they lost control. That's not my problem. Her lips pressed into a narrow line. They feel deceived. I looked at her, letting out a breath. Let's get one thing straight, Olivia. I have given your family hundreds of thousands of dollars, paid off their home, paid for Lisa's education, got them a new car, and in return, they laughed at me. They mistreated me. And now that I've cut them off, I'm the bad guy? She glanced away. It's not that simple. It is. We stood there, the silence stretching between us. For the first time in our marriage, I wondered if she actually understood me. If she ever had. I sighed, rubbing my temples. If you want to help them, fine. Use your own money, but don't expect me to lift another damn finger for them. She swallowed hard. I don't have that kind of money. I raised an eyebrow. Then maybe you'll finally grasp what it's like to actually work for something and not expect a handout. She glanced at me, hurt flashing across her face. But I didn't take it back. I meant every word. She left the room without another response. I sat there, staring at the locked door. For the first time in our relationship, I wasn't sure if we were on the same side anymore. Yet if she had me pick between her and my self-respect, I already knew my choice. That night, I stayed, up longer than usual. I wasn't working. I wasn't even tired. My head was just too loud. The confrontation with Richard, the way Olivia had reacted, the reality of everything that had happened in the last 24 hours, it all kept running through my mind like a broken